Hello, this is Christy with Positive X-Ploration. And today I want to talk about my life 1 year ago, last summer, when I was still living in Cincinnati and didn't know that my life was about to change yet.
Leave your limitations, live and go against them. Just let go and start up something new. Cause I know that what you planned out, everything that you built up, isn't what you want. And I know the life you're living isn't that fulfilling. Let me help you out.
I'm recording this as a voiceover to my videos that I recorded last summer. Last summer, I had just started recording videos here and there. I had just finished with career counseling, and I hadn't been recording YouTube videos on a regular basis. I took a break. It was too much to devote my time to the career counseling, which was hours and hours of reviewing videos and self-reflection, honestly. My career coaches had exercises for us to do, and some of them were quite lengthy and involved. And I did all of my homework to make sure that I got on the right track and stayed there, that I really knew myself and I knew what I wanted. Just finished career counseling in February, and I was looking for jobs. I was having the career counselors look over my resumes and cover letters before sending them out. And I applied for something and went through 3 rounds of interviews with this one place that was fully remote, because that's what I was looking for as a result of my career counseling. And it was a job related to communications, and I could do my writing, and so I applied for that because that's what I had decided. I wanted to do writing, I wanted a remote position. So I looked for jobs like that where I could write, where I could work remotely. That was what I was mainly looking for. And I went through 3 rounds, which is the furthest I'd gone in interviewing in a couple of years. And it didn't work out. I don't feel like I did that 3rd round of interview, that last round, very well. And there's also something that I noticed about them too that made me think that this wasn't going to be such a great place to work. They all seemed burned out themselves. They kind of seemed like things weren't going well, and I can guess it had been because their company had gone public fairly recently in the last couple of years or so, and that changes things within a company as it grows. That changes how you operate. It does add a lot of policy and procedure and a lot of work for HR. And they looked tired to me. And another thing about this position that I had applied for, it wasn't established really. It was a new type of position that they were going to have. I was going to be the first person to have this position. And that's not always a great thing, because people don't really know what your positions should look like exactly in some cases. They might, but I've also seen where people just give you whatever, they don't want to do when there's a new position and it's not clearly defined, or, people aren't quite sure what it's there for in the first place. So I'm ultimately glad that I didn't get this position. One day I decided to look at the corporate positions that were open in the company I was currently in. Now, all these years before, I thought, no, I don't want to move to corporate. I don't want to go that direction. I want to stay where I am. I want to work remotely. At corporate, I may not get to do that, et cetera, et cetera. And the reason I started looking at corporate was because our department in HR was being restructured in a big way. And so there were a lot of moving parts, a lot of positions opening up. And I applied for several, but one in particular really caught my eye. And it was a position that I had been interested in since starting with this company back in 2017. And at the time, there hadn't been an opening in this department. But because of the massive restructuring, there were 2 openings instead of just 1. And so I applied. I figured I had a great shot. I had expressed interest in this job before, worked well in this area in the past. Needless to say, I got the job and everything, but I think it's perfect. Do I get to write? No, but I am writing a book anyway on my own time. It's fine. Another thing that I had learned about myself as far as my career counseling was that, yes, I have a creative side, but I also have an analytical side. I like to do reporting. I like to share analytics. I enjoy pivot tables. This has been the perfect new position for me. I've already had a job where I had to write, and in journalism, I just think that this job is pretty perfect for me. It's just better suited for my overall personality. And I've talked about looking for things like that in past videos, and it turns out I wasn't wrong about that. And so anyway, last summer I was still looking. I had just been, not turned down, but not accepted either to the other job that I'm glad didn't work out. And I also want to say that when I saw this position open up, I reconsidered moving to this area. I had wanted to one other time before in my life when I first found out this kind of job existed in my company. And also, I wanted to move here then, but it just wasn't the right time. There wasn't an opening. And when this opening came about and I applied, I immediately started reconsidering my whole thing about, is this what I really want? Like, does it have to be remote? No, the job doesn't have to be remote. It has to be something that I want to do. And this is something I've wanted to do for 4 years, or 5 years actually. And I had wanted to live here before at one time, so why not now? You know, do I really want to stay in Cincinnati? Do I have to live in a bigger city? Because it meant moving to a smaller community as well. Well, I don't have to live in a large community, a city. I can live in a smaller community again. I remembered all the things that I liked about what was here and about the times that I had visited corporate in the past, and I wasn't hating the thought. And it's kind of like I knew, if this works out, if I get this job, it will be the right thing for me. And so far, here we are, almost 10 months later, and it does seem to be the right job. I'm having a good first year, in other words. Last summer, I was concerned about having to get a hysterectomy and what my future was going to be that way as well. I was very, very future focused. I think that when we're not happy, or at least I'll say this for me, when I'm not happy with my current circumstance, which most of my life has been a lot, I have been very, very future focused. Wanting to do something to make my future better. So last summer, between not being sure about if I was going to find the right career for me and how much longer it was going to take, and between not being sure whether or not I was going to have a hysterectomy, which was going to be a major surgery, and family members were going to have to travel all this way to where I was. Logistically, it wasn't going to be the greatest situation. A year later, I had a good health checkup earlier this year, and I don't have to have any surgery, at least not right now, and maybe not ever. And then I am really sinking into this new position. I spent the first few months in training and kind of enjoying the honeymoon phase and being somewhere where I wanted to be. And, I've been learning my surroundings and learning about people in the office and everything. And things are going better than expected, honestly. So, anyway, as far as am I different from a year ago? I don't know that I'm that different, but I feel better. I feel better. So that was me. That was my life a year ago. Wondering how much longer, wondering all the what ifs. And here we are in a much better spot mentally and emotionally. It felt so good to come here. It just did. And I'm super grateful. That is all for now. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next